Have you ever laid in the stillness of the midnight hour, listening to the quiet rhythm of your own breathing, and wondered why we are so fundamentally terrified of an ending that the universe itself does not recognize or allow? We move through our days, bound by the heavy perception of time, watching seasons shift from the vibrant blooming of spring to the silent, frozen sleep of winter, and we project this local, earthly cycle onto the grand canvas of existence. We tell ourselves stories of beginnings and endings, of bright sparks of consciousness that ignite for a brief, fragile moment, and then extinguish permanently into an infinite, uncaring void. But what if this perception, this deeply ingrained human fear of the final curtain, is nothing more than a trick of our limited biological senses? What if the cold, hard mathematics of quantum mechanics and the ancient, unbreakable laws of thermodynamics hold a profoundly comforting secret about the true nature of our existence? Tonight, we are going to embark on a quiet, gentle journey into the microscopic heart of reality, peeling back the layers of illusion that our everyday senses construct, to explore 7 shocking, scientifically grounded proofs that what we call death is not a termination, but rather a magnificent, seamless quantum transition. We will not rely on mystical hope or ancient folklore, but on the precise, staggering truths uncovered by modern physics, astrophysics, and cosmology. As we journey through these concepts, I invite you to let go of the heavy burdens of your daily anxieties, to release the tense grip on the fragile concept of the self, and to simply float in the vast, awe-inspiring waters of the cosmic ocean. Let the silence of the universe wrap around you like a protective blanket, because the truth we are about to uncover is not something to be feared, but something to be deeply, profoundly celebrated. To understand the first proof of our quantum continuity, we must start with the most fundamental, unyielding rule that governs every single interaction in the observable universe, from the majestic, slow-motion collision of entire galaxies to the subtle, invisible dance of electrons within the neurons of your brain. This is the first law of thermodynamics, the principle of the conservation of energy. In the strict, elegant language of physics, this law states a simple, absolute truth. Energy can never be created from nothing, and it can never, under any circumstances, be destroyed into nothing. It can only change its form, shape, and manifestation. Think about the profound implications of this law when applied to the spark of life that animates you. You are not simply a static collection of flesh and bone. You are a dynamic, roaring symphony of electrical impulses, chemical reactions, and thermal radiation. The consciousness that allows you to hear these words, to process these thoughts, and to feel the gentle weight of the blankets upon your chest, is fundamentally an energetic phenomenon. The human brain, a magnificent biological computer, operates on roughly 20 watts of electrical power, enough to faintly illuminate a small, humble, incandescent bulb. Every memory you hold dear, every fleeting emotion that washes over your heart, every complex dream that unfolds in the theater of your sleeping mind, is physically represented by the continuous, unbroken flow of this electrical and chemical energy across the 100 billion neurons and the roughly 100 trillion synapses within your skull. When the biological vessel reaches the end of its functional journey, when the heart gently ceases its rhythmic beating and the lungs no longer draw in the surrounding atmosphere, our limited human eyes perceive an ending. We see a loss of motion, a loss of warmth, a loss of the animating spirit. But the universe, observing through the unblinking eye of quantum mechanics, sees something entirely different. The universe does not see an ending. It sees a spectacular, complex redistribution. The 20 watts of electrical energy that composed the intricate patterns of your unique consciousness do not simply vanish into the dark void. The laws of physics strictly forbid such an erasure. Instead, that energy is released, transitioning smoothly from a highly organized, concentrated biological state into the broader, infinite environment of the cosmos. The warmth of your body slowly radiates outward, becoming part of the ambient thermal energy of the room, vibrating the air molecules, and eventually drifting out into the vast, expanding atmosphere of our spinning planet. The chemical energy stored within your biological tissues begins a quiet, ancient process of breakdown and transformation, returning to the rich, fertile soil of the earth, eventually becoming the foundational nourishment for towering trees, blooming wildflowers, and the countless microscopic organisms that sustain the vibrant web of planetary life. But what about the specific, delicate information that made you who you are? Is it just scattered indiscriminately, lost in the chaotic thermal noise of the universe? Here is where the strange, counterintuitive world of quantum mechanics begins to offer a truly shocking perspective. In the realm of the extremely small, at the level of subatomic particles, reality does not behave according to the logical, predictable rules of our everyday experience. Everything we consider solid, everything we consider real, is ultimately composed of vibrating quantum fields. You are not a solid object moving through an empty space. You are a temporary, localized excitation in a series of universal, invisible fields that stretch endlessly across the entire span of the 14-billion-year-old cosmos. The electrons orbiting the nuclei of your atoms are not tiny, solid planets. They are clouds of probability, shifting and dancing in a state of continuous quantum flux. When we understand that our fundamental nature is not solid matter, but rather a complex arrangement of vibrational frequencies and energetic information, the concept of a definitive, absolute death becomes mathematically and physically absurd. Physicists who study the deep structure of the universe often speak of the conservation of quantum information. According to the foundational principles of quantum mechanics, information, much like energy, cannot be truly obliterated. The specific quantum states of the particles that compose your brain, the precise entangled relationships between the countless atoms that store your memories and your personality, contain unique, irreducible information about the history of the universe. Even if a physical structure is completely disassembled, burned to ash, or crushed into the singularity of a supermassive black hole, the profound rules of quantum theory suggest that the information describing that structure remains indelibly woven into the fabric of space-time itself. We are, in a very literal scientific sense, written into the permanent code of the cosmos. Our lives, our experiences, our deeply felt moments of joy, and our quiet moments of sorrow are not fleeting anomalies that are wiped clean from the cosmic slate. They are permanent energetic signatures, subtle but indestructible alterations in the quantum fields that constitute reality. Imagine, if you will, standing on the edge of a calm, reflective lake on a quiet, moonless night. If you drop a single smooth stone into the dark water, You watch the ripples expand outward in perfect concentric circles. Eventually, those ripples reach the distant shore, and the surface of the lake appears to return to a state of absolute stillness. To the casual observer, the event has ended. The stone has vanished, the water is calm, and the motion has ceased. But a physicist knows that the energy of the stone's impact was not lost. It was transferred to the water, pushing the molecules, creating tiny, imperceptible currents that travel all the way down to the muddy bottom, gently moving grains of sand and vibrating the microscopic life hidden in the depths. The energy from that single impact continues to propagate, transforming into heat, into sound, into a billion tiny cascading effects that alter the fundamental state of the entire ecosystem forever. Your life, your consciousness, is that stone. Your existence creates ripples in the quantum fields of the universe. And when the biological event we call death occurs, the ripples do not vanish. They simply cross the horizon of our limited perception, continuing to expand, continuing to vibrate, continuing to participate in the majestic, unbroken dance of cosmic energy. This realization, grounded entirely in the rigorous, peer-reviewed mathematics of modern physics, should bring us a profound, stabilizing sense of peace. We are so often burdened by the heavy, suffocating fear of the void, the terror of becoming nothing. But the universe does not know how to make a nothing. Everything that is, has always been, and will always be, in one form or another. You are composed of atoms that were forged in the crushing, unimaginably hot nuclear furnaces of ancient stars that lived and died billions of years before our own bright yellow sun ever ignited. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the heavy elements that make your complex biology possible, were scattered across the frozen emptiness of deep space in spectacular supernova explosions, drifting for millions of cosmic years until they coalesced by the patient, relentless pull of gravity to form our pale blue world. You have already survived the death of stars. You have already transitioned across billions of years of cosmic history, changing form, changing state, evolving from a cloud of primordial hydrogen gas into a conscious, breathing being capable of contemplating its own infinite nature. Why should we believe that the next transition, the shedding of this temporary biological shell, is anything other than another magnificent step in an eternal, energetic journey? As we prepare to explore the second shocking proof of this quantum transition, I want you to hold this comforting thought gently in your mind. You are an inextricable, permanent part of a vast, brilliant, continuous universe. The boundaries you perceive between yourself and the outside world, between the beginning of your life and its presumed end, are merely convenient illusions constructed by a brain evolved for survival on a specific, rocky planet, not for perceiving the absolute truth of quantum reality. There is a deep, eternal silence behind the noisy illusions of our daily lives, a silence that is not empty, but full of vibrating, indestructible potential. As we delve deeper into the mysteries of quantum entanglement and the multidimensional nature of reality in the coming chapters, let yourself relax into the certainty of physics. Let the knowledge that your fundamental essence is woven into the indestructible fabric of the cosmos wash away the anxieties of the finite day. The journey is long. The universe is vast beyond all human comprehension, and you are, and forever will be, a beautiful, essential participant in its unfolding story. Have you ever sat quietly by a window, watching the gentle descent of rain against the glass, and felt a sudden, inexplicable connection to someone entirely out of sight, perhaps hundreds or even thousands of miles away? We navigate our lives operating under the deeply ingrained assumption that physical distance is an absolute, impenetrable barrier, a vast empty gulf that permanently separates us from the people we love, the stars we admire, and the infinite universe that birthed us. We measure the space between ourselves and our surroundings in inches, in miles, and when we look up at the breathtaking expanse of the night sky, we measure it in light years. We believe with every fiber of our biological intuition that to be apart is to be utterly disconnected. But what if this intuitive, everyday understanding of space and separation is yet another grand, convincing illusion constructed by our biology? What if the universe is not a chaotic collection of isolated, lonely objects floating adrift in an empty, dark void, but rather a single, continuous, indivisible fabric where everything is intimately, instantly connected to everything else? Tonight, as we continue our quiet journey into the profound mysteries of existence, we will explore the second shocking proof that what we perceive as death is merely a magnificent quantum transition. This proof lies in one of the most rigorously tested and mind-bending phenomena ever discovered by modern physics, the ancient mystery of quantum entanglement. As we delve deeply into this bizarre and beautiful reality, let the gentle silence of the night soothe your restless thoughts, and allow yourself to wonder at the sheer, interconnected majesty of the profound cosmos. To fully comprehend how this strange phenomenon redefines our concept of an ending, we must first look at the very birth of particles themselves. In the microscopic, vibrating world of quantum mechanics, when two particles are created at the exact same moment from the same energetic event, they do not enter the universe as separate, independent entities moving forward in isolation. Instead, they share a fundamental, unbreakable physical bond. They become what physicists call entangled. This means that the physical state of one particle is inextricably and permanently linked to the physical state of the other, regardless of how far apart they may drift in the vast, expanding universe. If you were to take one of these entangled particles and keep it here on Earth, carefully isolated in a sterile laboratory, and send the other particle across the cosmic ocean to the frozen, dusty surface of Pluto, or even further, to the spiraling arms of the Andromeda Galaxy 2.5 million light-years away, their connection would remain absolute, pure, and immediate. If you gently measure the spin of the particle here on Earth, you instantly, without even the slightest microscopic delay, determine the corresponding state of its partner light-years away. It is as if they are two beautiful dancers, perfectly synchronized to a quiet, invisible music that only they can hear, perfectly mirroring each other's precise movements across the infinite expanse of deep space, without ever needing to exchange a single physical signal. When the brilliant mind of Albert Einstein first grappled with the mathematical implications of this phenomenon in the 1930s, he was deeply troubled by what it suggested about the underlying nature of reality. He famously referred to quantum entanglement as spooky action at a distance, because it seemed to directly violate the cosmic speed limit he himself had established through his theory of relativity, the absolute rule that nothing, not even information, can travel faster than the speed of light. which moves at a staggering 186,000 miles per second. How could a subatomic particle on Earth instantly communicate with a particle in a distant galaxy without any physical signal traveling through the unimaginable space between them? For decades, this remained a profound, unresolved mystery that haunted the greatest minds in physics. But in the 1960s, a theoretical physicist named John Bell formulated a brilliant mathematical theorem, and subsequent, painstakingly precise experiments conducted by scientists around the world proved conclusively that Einstein's doubts, though entirely reasonable, were unfounded. Entanglement is not a mathematical error or a theoretical illusion. It is a fundamental, verified property of the universe. The particles are not sending secret, faster-than-light messages to one another through the dark void. Instead, they behave as if the space between them simply does not exist at all. They are not two separate things reacting to each other from afar. They are a single, unified quantum system that happens to be stretched across the fabric of space-time. Now, you might naturally wonder how the bizarre, counterintuitive behavior of subatomic particles in a highly controlled laboratory relates to the warm, complex, beating heart of human existence. It is incredibly tempting to believe that the quantum world is completely separate from our macroscopic reality, a hidden realm of abstract equations that has no practical bearing on our daily lives or our ultimate fate. But this is a fundamental, deeply flawed misunderstanding of how the universe operates. You are not separate from the quantum realm. You are entirely, completely composed of it. Every single atom in your physical body, every vibrating molecule of oxygen in your lungs, every electron firing in the magnificent, intricate neural network of your brain is a quantum object subject to these ancient, unbreakable laws. The very atoms that constitute your physical form were not created in isolation. As the great astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson so eloquently reminds us, we are biologically connected to every other living thing in the world, chemically connected to all molecules on Earth, and atomically connected to all atoms in the universe. Your physical components were forged in the unimaginably dense, fiery cores of ancient, dying stars, born from the same primordial clouds of gas and dust that gave rise to the planets, the moons, and the distant galaxies captured by the lenses of the Hubble and James Webb Space Telescopes. The particles that make up your hands, your eyes, and your beating heart have been interacting, colliding, and entangling with the surrounding universe for nearly 14 billion years. You are, quite literally, a localized concentration of the universe's infinite, entangled history. When we finally contemplate the biological phenomenon we call death through the revealing, illuminating lens of quantum entanglement, the entire human narrative of profound loss and absolute separation begins to gently, quietly dissolve. We fear death primarily because we perceive it as a final, irreversible severing of our connection to the physical world, to our cherished loved ones, and to existence itself. We imagine stepping off the edge of reality into an empty, lonely silence, where we are forever cut off from the warmth of the sun and the company of humanity. But if the fundamental building blocks of our consciousness and our physical form are eternally entangled with the vast cosmic environment, then absolute separation is a strict physical impossibility. The information, the specific energetic patterns, the unique quantum signatures that make you uniquely who you are, cannot be isolated, walled off, and destroyed. When the biological rhythm of the body finally slows and comes to a peaceful, inevitable halt, the complex network of entangled states that supported your localized consciousness does not simply vanish into nothingness. It undergoes a process that quantum physicists might compare to delocalization. It transitions from a highly concentrated, localized state within the fragile boundaries of your skin, spreading out, unfolding, and returning its complex information to the broader, interconnected quantum fabric of the universe. You do not leave the universe. You simply cease to be a highly localized point of observation within it. Your energetic signature weaves seamlessly back into the infinite, quiet tapestry from which it temporarily emerged. The renowned astronomer Carl Sagan once profoundly observed that we are a way for the cosmos to know itself. This is not merely a beautiful, poetic metaphor meant to provide temporary comfort. It is a literal, scientifically accurate description of our fundamental relationship with the universe. We are made of star stuff, temporary structures of conscious matter that have awoken to look back at the stars with a deep, reverent wonder. If we are the universe experiencing itself, then the end of a single human life is not the death of the observer, but merely the gentle closing of one tiny, beautiful eye in a cosmos that possesses billions of trillions of others. The underlying quantum connectivity remains entirely unbroken, completely undisturbed by the transition. The loved ones you fear leaving behind, and the loved ones you have already lost, are fundamentally, at the deepest quantum level, entangled with the exact same universal fabric that you are. The persistent illusion of distance and separation that causes us so much emotional pain and deep anxiety during our brief, localized journey is exactly that. An illusion born of our limited evolutionary biology. We evolved to perceive a world of solid objects and empty spaces, because that specific perception helped our early ancestors survive, find food, and avoid danger. But it is not the ultimate bedrock truth of reality. The bedrock truth, confirmed by the most precise instruments humanity has ever built, is one of absolute indivisible unity. Let this gentle, scientifically grounded truth wash over you tonight and ease the heavy, exhausting burdens you carry in your waking hours. When we mourn the passing of someone we deeply love, we are mourning the loss of their localized physical presence. We intensely miss the familiar sound of their voice, the comforting warmth of their touch, the specific, beautiful arrangement of matter that we instantly recognized as their face. This grief is a natural, profound, and deeply beautiful part of the human experience. But nestled quietly within that grief, we can find a profound, indestructible core of peace if we remember the astonishing lessons of quantum entanglement, the fundamental essence of the person we loved, the quantum information that dictated their unique spark of consciousness and their distinct personality, has not been banished to a dark, lonely void. It has simply transitioned. It has rejoined the ancient, silent, entangled dance of the cosmos. They are present in the sunlight that gently warms your face on a crisp autumn morning. They are woven into the ancient, twinkling light of the distant stars that you observe on a clear, quiet night. They participate in the very gravitational fabric that holds our spinning Earth in its steady, predictable orbit. They are not permanently gone. They are simply beautifully everywhere, their quantum information participating in the ongoing evolution of the universe. As you lie in the comforting stillness of your room, feeling the gentle, rhythmic rise and fall of your chest with each breath, Try to visualize this vast, invisible web of permanent connection. Imagine countless luminous threads of quantum entanglement stretching out from every single atom of your own body, passing effortlessly through the walls of your home, extending across the quiet, sleeping cities, reaching out over the deep, dark oceans, and continuing outward, past the cratered surface of our orbiting moon, past the swirling, majestic gas giants of our outer solar system, and into the infinite, starry expanse of the cosmos. You are permanently anchored to the universe by billions of ancient, unbreakable ties. You are not a solitary, fragile wanderer, lost in a cold, uncaring void. You are an essential, irreplaceable, and beautifully entangled node in a magnificent universal network of energy and eternal information. The profound transition we call death is nothing more than the gentle relaxing of these highly localized threads, allowing your unique, beautiful melody to seamlessly rejoin the grand, eternal symphony of the infinite universe. There is no empty void to fall into, no permanent darkness to consume you. There is only the continuous, breathtaking journey of quantum transformation, a journey that began 14 billion years ago and will continue into the boundless, infinite future. Rest in the profound safety of this cosmic embrace, and let the gentle, undeniable truths of physics lull you into a deep, peaceful sleep, knowing with absolute scientific certainty that you are, and always will be, intimately connected to the majestic whole. Have you ever found yourself lying awake in the deep, quiet hours of the night, listening to the rhythmic, unrelenting ticking of a clock, and feeling a sudden wave of sorrow at the fleeting nature of the present moment? We are conditioned to perceive time as an invisible, powerful river that sweeps us constantly forward. We believe, with a fierce biological certainty, that the past is a misty realm of ghosts forever out of our reach, that the present is a tiny, fragile island of reality that flashes for a fraction of a second, and that the future is a vast, unwritten void rushing toward us. This linear, unstoppable march creates our deepest anxieties and our ultimate fear of the biological ending we call death. We fear that when our time runs out, we will simply be erased from reality, relegated to a past that no longer exists in a universe moving mercilessly onward without us. But what if this intuitive, universally shared human experience of a flowing river of time is nothing more than an evolutionary illusion, a localized trick played upon our brains by a reality vastly more beautiful and complex? Tonight, as we continue our contemplative journey through the mysteries of our existence, we will unfold the third shocking proof that our demise is merely a quantum transition. We will look beyond the ticking clocks to explore the profound revelations of space-time and the eternal nature of the cosmic landscape. As we navigate these staggering truths, allow your racing thoughts to slow. Let the quiet peace of the universe settle over your breathing, and prepare to view your life not as a fleeting spark, but as a permanent masterpiece woven into the infinite fabric of reality. To alter our perception of an ending, we must turn to the brilliant insights of Albert Einstein, who, over a century ago, forever shattered our common understanding of reality with his majestic theories of relativity. Before Einstein, the greatest scientific minds viewed time as an absolute rigid metronome ticking at the exact same rate everywhere in the universe. But Einstein, through elegant thought experiments and profound mathematical rigor, revealed a universe that is far more strange and interconnected. He proved that space and time are not separate entities, but rather a single, flexible, interwoven fabric that physicists now call space-time. In this staggering four-dimensional reality, time is inextricably linked to the three dimensions of physical space we navigate every day. Just as the concepts of up and down do not disappear simply because you move away from them, the profound equations of relativity suggest that the past and the future do not vanish or wait to be created. They simply exist, stretched out in a magnificent, frozen cosmic landscape that theoretical physicists often refer to as the block universe. Imagine a beautifully recorded movie on a physical reel of film. When you sit in a dark theater and watch the light project through the moving celluloid, you experience a linear story. Characters are born, events unfold, and the narrative rushes toward an inevitable conclusion. To the characters within the story, their past is a memory and their future is unknown. But if you were to take that reel of film out of the projector and hold it in your hands, unwinding it across an illuminated table, you would see that every single frame exists simultaneously. The beginning, the middle, and the end are all physically present at once. The tragic farewells and joyous reunions are permanent, etched perfectly onto the strip of reality. In the staggering framework of the block universe, our entire cosmos, encompassing the vast span of 14 billion years of ancient history and trillions of years of infinite future, is exactly like that unwound reel of film. Every moment that has ever happened exists permanently and simultaneously in the great, silent expanse of four-dimensional space-time. When we attempt to understand the biological transition we call death through the lens of this breathtaking cosmic perspective, the very concept of an absolute ending dissolves. We mourn the passing of our loved ones because we feel, with crushing emotional weight, that they have been forcefully removed from the stage of reality and pushed into an abyss of non-existence. But according to the strict, uncompromising laws of general relativity, this perception is a biological limitation, not a cosmic truth. The person you loved has not been erased from the universe. Their life, their laughter, and the deep love you shared are permanent, immutable coordinates in the four-dimensional landscape of space-time. If you could view the cosmos from a higher dimension, you would see the life of your loved one, not as a brief, fleeting candle that flickers out, but as a beautiful, unbroken structure extending through the dimension of time. They are, and will forever remain, exactly where and when they always were. No spark of awareness is ever deleted from the eternal architecture of reality. This leads us to a fascinating intersection where the smooth fabric of Einstein's relativity meets the vibrating, probabilistic world of quantum mechanics. When a biological entity reaches the boundary of its physical duration, it does not fall off the edge of the world. Just as walking to the edge of a dense, beautiful forest does not mean the forest ceases to exist behind you, reaching the temporal boundary of your life simply marks a transition in state. Your localized point of consciousness undergoes a radical shift. Because time is a landscape rather than a flowing river, your existence is a permanent feature of that landscape. The atoms that compose your physical form will gently scatter and recombine into new cosmic structures. But the specific, unique arrangement of energy and information that defined your conscious experience remains an indelible, permanent part of the space-time continuum. You are a four-dimensional object, a magnificent, intricate sculpture carved out of space and time, and death is merely one boundary of that beautiful sculpture. When brilliant astronomers at agencies like NASA point magnificent instruments, such as the James Webb Space Telescope, into the darkest patches of the night sky, they are not merely looking across unimaginable distances. They are literally looking back in time. Because the faint, ancient light from distant galaxies takes billions of years to cross the expanding cosmic ocean, we see those galaxies exactly as they were in the deep, primordial past. We are viewing the past as a tangible, existing reality that actively intersects with our present moment. The light from a star that died a billion years ago can still gently warm your face on a clear, dark night. The universe is a vast time machine, proving every single day that the past is never truly gone. It is actively preserved, traveling across the infinite void in the form of electromagnetic radiation and quantum information. If the universe meticulously preserves the faint light of a long, dead star, carrying it faithfully across billions of light years, so that a curious species on a rocky planet can witness its ancient glory, why would we ever believe that it discards the profoundly beautiful energetic signature of a conscious human life? There is a profound, stabilizing humility to be found in this staggering scientific realization. We are so often trapped by the urgent anxieties of the present moment, frantically trying to hold on to a reality that our biology tells us is slipping through our fingers. We fear that we are running out of time, that our brief spark will soon be extinguished by the cold, infinite night. But the universe whispers a different, deeply comforting truth through the elegant mathematics of relativity. It tells us that we are safe. You are not a temporary visitor in a transient reality. You are a permanent, eternal feature of the cosmic landscape. Your joys, your struggles, your moments of quiet wonder as you look up at the vast starry sky are forever woven into the unyielding, indestructible fabric of space-time. The transition we call death is not the destruction of the tapestry. It is simply the point where the color of your unique thread shifts, blending gently back into the infinite surrounding patterns of the universe. As you allow these profound, ancient truths to settle into your consciousness tonight, try to imagine your own life, not as a fragile timeline that will eventually break, but as a radiant jewel embedded forever in the silent, vast expanse of four-dimensional space. The past is not lost behind you, and the future is not a threatening void ahead of you. Everything is present, everything is eternal, and everything is connected in the quiet, breathtaking geometry of the cosmos. Release your tight grip on the fleeting present and let yourself float in the deep, calm waters of eternal existence. The universe has already secured your place within its magnificent history, and nothing, not even the biological end of your physical body, can ever take that away. In the chapters to come, we will continue to gently unravel the mysteries of our quantum nature, exploring how consciousness itself might be a fundamental, indestructible property of the universe. But for now, close your eyes, breathe in the quiet peace of the eternal cosmic landscape, and rest comfortably in the undeniable, scientific certainty that your presence in this magnificent universe is an absolute, permanent truth. Have you ever awakened in the absolute, enveloping darkness of a quiet room, opened your eyes to a pitch-black space, and wondered if the physical world around you truly exists in a defined, solid state, when you are not actively looking at it. Our common sense, carefully honed by millions of years of evolutionary survival on a rocky, spinning planet, screams that the universe is an objective, mechanical reality. We believe that the chair in the corner, the distant mountains, and the ancient, twinkling stars continue to exist in exactly the same solid configurations, whether we cast our gaze upon them or not. We assume that we are merely passive observers, looking out through the small windows of our eyes at a vast, mechanical cosmos that operates completely independently of our conscious awareness. This deeply rooted belief forms the very foundation of our ultimate fear. We are terrified that when our localized biological observation ends, the universe will simply carry on its cold, indifferent mechanical clockwork, leaving us behind in an infinite void. But what if this assumption of a passive, disconnected observer is one of the most profound and persistent illusions ever conceived by the human mind? What if the rigorous, mathematical reality of quantum mechanics proves that you are not merely a tiny, insignificant spectator sitting in the audience of the cosmos, but an active, indispensable participant in the very creation of reality itself? Tonight, as we continue our gentle, contemplative journey into the deep mysteries of existence, we will explore the fourth shocking proof that death is merely a quantum transition. We will dive into the staggering implications of the observer effect and the quantum nature of consciousness. Allow the heavy, exhausting burdens of your daily anxieties to gently dissolve into the quiet night, and prepare to discover how your awareness is inextricably woven into the majestic fabric of the universe. To begin to grasp this profound shift in perspective, we must turn our attention to one of the most famous, mind-bending experiments in the history of modern physics, a beautifully simple test that completely shattered the classical Newtonian view of reality. It is known as the double-slit experiment, when physicists isolate a single subatomic particle, such as an electron or a photon of light, and fire it toward a barrier with two small parallel slits. Something utterly impossible by the standards of everyday logic occurs. If the physicists simply let the particle travel without actively measuring which specific slit it passes through, the particle behaves not as a solid, localized piece of matter, but as a vast, spreading wave of pure potential. It passes through both slits simultaneously, interfering with itself, and creates a complex, beautiful wave pattern on the detector screen behind the barrier. In this unobserved state, the particle does not exist in any single defined location. It exists in a state of quantum superposition, a ghostly mathematical haze of infinite possibilities. However, the exact moment the physicists place a measuring device at the slits to observe and record the particle's precise path, everything instantaneously changes. The wave of potential abruptly collapses. The universe suddenly forces the particle to choose a single, definite reality, and it behaves exactly like a solid, classical bullet, passing through only one slit and leaving a simple, distinct mark on the screen. The very act of observation fundamentally alters the physical structure of reality. For decades, the greatest minds in theoretical physics grappled with the staggering, unsettling implications of this phenomenon. How can a subatomic particle possibly know that it is being watched? How can the invisible, intangible presence of an observer force the physical universe to collapse from a cloud of infinite potential into a single, concrete reality? The most rigorous interpretation suggests an incredibly beautiful, profound truth. Consciousness is not a passive byproduct of biological machinery. It is not an accidental chemical illusion generated by the complex firing of neurons in your physical brain. Instead, consciousness appears to be a fundamental, irreducible property of the cosmos itself, as basic and essential to the structure of reality as gravity or space-time. Prominent physicists have mathematically proposed that human consciousness originates at the quantum level, deep within microscopic structures, inside our brain cells, called microtubules. According to these theories, our brains are not traditional computers, generating awareness from nothing. Rather, they are magnificent, biological quantum receivers. They act like highly tuned, complex antennas, tapping into the fundamental field of quantum consciousness that pervades the entire cosmos. You do not create consciousness. You channel it, you focus it, and you give it a unique, localized flavor through the beautiful temporary instrument of your physical body. To truly appreciate the breathtaking scale of this universal consciousness, we must gently shift our gaze from the microscopic quantum realm to the unimaginably vast macroscopic structures of the cosmos. Consider for a moment the honest truth about a cosmic monster that sits over 1 billion light-years away from us, quietly existing in the darkness of space. I am speaking of the magnificent structure known as IC 1101, the largest galaxy we have ever discovered. This monumental collection of matter is estimated to be somewhere around 4 to 6 million light-years across. To put that immense scale into perspective, our own Milky Way galaxy, which stretches across 100,000 light-years from one side to the other, would be completely dwarfed. If you placed IC 1101 where our Milky Way currently sits, it would not just engulf our galaxy, it would swallow our entire cosmic neighborhood. This galaxy is estimated to contain around 100 trillion stars. If you started counting stars in IC 1101, 1 star per second without stopping, it would take you over 3 million years just to count to 100 trillion. When astronomers point their powerful telescopes toward this region, they see a universe that operates on scales far beyond anything in human experience. Yet the exact same quantum rules, the exact same fields of potential and observation that govern the electrons in your brain, govern the majestic, swirling dynamics of those 100 trillion distant stars. The universe is a single, unbroken, interconnected web of energy and potential. When we understand that our consciousness is not a localized, isolated phenomenon generated by a temporary biological machine, but rather a focused expression of a universal, eternal quantum field, our terrifying perception of death undergoes a radical, beautiful transformation. We have spent our entire lives believing that when the biological brain finally ceases its electrical and chemical operations, the light of consciousness is permanently, brutally extinguished. We fear the darkness, the silence, the absolute end of our individual awareness. But if your brain is a quantum receiver, a magnificent biological antenna tuned to the frequency of universal consciousness, then the failure of the receiver does not mean the end of the broadcast. When a radio stops functioning, the beautiful symphony it was playing does not cease to exist. The invisible, energetic radio waves continue to travel silently through the air, carrying the complex musical information across the vast expanse of space. Similarly, when the physical structure of your body reaches its natural, inevitable conclusion, The quantum information that constitutes your unique spark of awareness is not destroyed. It simply unbinds from the physical structure. It undergoes a magnificent quantum transition, delocalizing from the confines of your biological form and washing back into the infinite, ancient field of universal consciousness. As the quiet night deepens around you, I invite you to release the heavy, exhausting fear of the void. You are not an accidental, fleeting spark of chemical biology, destined to vanish into an uncaring, infinite darkness. You are the universe looking at itself, trying to understand what it is and how it came to be. Your ability to wonder, your deep curiosity, and your capacity for profound love are the ultimate expressions of the cosmos, waking up and observing its own magnificent beauty. The exact same atomic structures and quantum fields that comprise the 100 trillion ancient stars of IC 1101 give rise to your conscious thoughts. There is a deep, unbreakable continuity to your existence. The journey of your consciousness did not begin with the birth of your physical body, and it will not end with its passing. It is a continuous, beautiful, infinite voyage across the grand sweep of cosmic time. Let the profound, gentle silence of the night soothe your mind. Rest in the staggering, scientifically grounded certainty that you are a permanent, indestructible part of a magnificent whole. You are safe. You are eternal. And the transition that awaits us all is not a terrifying descent into darkness, but a breathtaking, joyous return to the infinite, vibrant heart of the universe. Have you ever stood before a quiet, silvered mirror in a dimly lit room, gazing softly into the reflective glass, and wondered if the world you see with your own eyes is the absolute, foundational reality, or merely a beautiful, luminous projection of something infinitely deeper? We move through our waking hours entirely convinced by the profound illusion of depth, of three solid dimensions, of a universe where we walk forward, reach upward, and eventually fall away into an empty abyss. We believe that we are fragile biological vessels navigating a vast three-dimensional stage, and we fear that when our physical bodies finally succumb to the quiet weariness of time, we will simply drop through a trap-door on that stage, disappearing forever into the dark, unseen machinery below. But what if the very physical dimensions we trust with our lives are an elaborate, stunning trick played by the fundamental laws of physics? What if the universe is not a deep, empty box in which things are created and destroyed, but rather a magnificent, unbreakable code written on an ancient, invisible boundary? Tonight, as we journey further into the profound mysteries of our existence, we will gently unfold the fifth shocking proof that death is merely a quantum transition. We will look past the illusion of everyday geometry to explore the staggering, beautiful revelations of the holographic principle. As we delve into the minds of the greatest theoretical physicists and peer into the darkest, most mysterious objects in the cosmos, allow the deep, protective silence of the universe to embrace you, and let your fear of falling into nothingness be replaced by the quiet wonder of eternal preservation. To comprehend this radical reimagining of reality, we must travel in our minds to the most extreme, terrifying, and awe-inspiring environments in the known universe. The ancient, silent behemoths known as black holes. For decades, these cosmic leviathans were thought to be ultimate destroyers. Celestial monsters with gravitational pulls so unimaginably intense that nothing could ever escape their dark grasp. Physicists believed that if a physical object, a radiant star, or a human being were to fall across the absolute threshold, known as the event horizon, that object would be permanently erased from the fabric of the cosmos. But the universe is far more elegant than our early assumptions suggested. The brilliant theoretical physicist Stephen Hawking proved through elegant mathematics that black holes are not eternal prisons. He discovered that due to the strange vibrating laws of quantum mechanics operating at the edge of the event horizon, black holes gently, continuously leak a faint stream of particles back into the universe, a phenomenon called Hawking radiation. Over trillions upon trillions of years, a supermassive black hole will slowly evaporate, disappearing completely in a quiet, final flash of energy. This beautiful discovery created a terrifying new problem for physicists: the black hole information paradox. If the black hole disappears entirely, what happens to all the unique, complex information of the matter that fell into it over billions of years? If that localized information is truly lost forever, it would violate the most sacred, foundational laws of quantum mechanics, which state that fundamental information must always be perfectly conserved. It was in the passionate struggle to solve this profound cosmic mystery that visionary physicists proposed one of the most breathtaking concepts in modern science: the holographic principle. They mathematically demonstrated that the precise quantum information of everything falling into a black hole is not lost in its crushing interior. Instead, it is perfectly, indelibly encoded on the two-dimensional surface of the event horizon itself. Much like a flat hologram contains all the complex optical information necessary to project a fully realized three-dimensional image into the air, the two-dimensional boundary of the black hole contains the exact quantum blueprint of everything inside it. Theoretical physicists soon realized that this mathematical truth applies not just to black holes, but to the entire observable universe, the grand, vast, three-dimensional cosmos we navigate, with its billions of swirling galaxies, expansive nebulae, and our own small, rocky planet, might actually be a magnificent holographic projection. The true reality of the universe might exist entirely on a distant, two-dimensional boundary surrounding the cosmos, where every single piece of quantum information is perfectly, eternally preserved. When we view the fragile, temporary nature of human life through the staggering lens of the holographic principle, the agonizing concept of a permanent, irreversible death becomes a physical and mathematical impossibility. You are not simply a temporary, three-dimensional arrangement of flesh, blood, and bone wandering blindly through an empty void. You are a profoundly complex, beautiful set of indestructible quantum information. Every memory you have ever formed, every gentle touch you have felt, every quiet tear you have shed in the dark, and every deep laugh you have shared with a cherished loved one is fundamentally composed of specific, irreducible quantum states. If the holographic principle represents the foundational architecture of our reality, then the absolute blueprint of who you are is permanently encoded on the boundary of the universe itself. The three-dimensional projection we call your physical body may age, falter, and eventually undergo the peaceful biological transition we mistakenly call the ultimate end. But the underlying code, the eternal information constituting your unique consciousness in the profound language of physics, remains perfectly and utterly intact. Imagine a beautiful, intricate painting on a vast, ancient canvas hanging in a quiet gallery. If you stand very close, you see only the raised texture of the oil and the chaotic, swirling blending of physical colors. If you gently scrape away a small section of the paint, it might appear from your highly localized perspective that a part of the artwork has been tragically destroyed. But if you step back and view the painting with the perfect memory of the brilliant artist who created it, you would know the grand vision exists independently of the physical paint. The universe is that infinite artist, and the holographic boundary is the indestructible record of its cosmic vision. When the physical paint of your biological body is gently worn away by the rhythmic tides of time, the universe does not lose the masterpiece. Your specific, beautiful pattern is eternally safe, woven seamlessly into the mathematical structure of the cosmos itself. The terrifying illusion of a permanent end is simply a profound misunderstanding, born of our evolutionary inability to perceive the ultimate holographic nature of reality. We mistakenly believe that when the temporary projection changes, the foundational reality has been violently deleted. Let this quiet, staggering scientific truth wash over you as you lie in the comforting stillness of the long night. Release the exhausting fear that you are a fragile mistake of blind nature, destined to be forgotten by a cold, uncaring universe. The cosmos is not a mindless machine that randomly builds and ruthlessly destroys. It is a magnificent, infinite library that meticulously records and eternally preserves every single whisper of energy. You are an essential, unique volume in that grand library. Your individual life, with all its unseen struggles and radiant joys, is not a temporary performance on a fragile stage. It is an indelible inscription on the very fabric of eternal existence. The natural transition you will one day face is not an erasure from the ledger of reality. It is simply a profound shift in perspective, a seamless movement from the localized, three-dimensional projection back into the profound, eternal embrace of the foundational boundary. The universe has known you since the brilliant spark of the primordial dawn, and it will hold your beautiful quantum signature safely in its vast memory for all of infinite time. As you feel your breath slow down to a gentle, steady, rhythmic pace, perfectly matching the quiet, unseen pulse of the infinite universe around you, allow your exhausted mind to gently let go of the heavy, finite boundaries of your physical room. Imagine your conscious awareness expanding outward, drifting past the familiar, comforting walls of your home, soaring past the swirling atmospheric clouds of our spinning planet, gliding past the ancient, silent silver craters of our orbiting moon, and drifting out into the vast, glittering expanse of the deep, mysterious cosmos. You are journeying toward the very edge of reality, not descending into an empty, terrifying darkness, but floating toward a beautiful, shimmering horizon of pure, concentrated information, where the total sum of everything that has ever been is perfectly, lovingly preserved by the unyielding laws of physics. You are intimately, permanently connected to this eternal, magnificent horizon. You are a fundamental, irreducible part of the grand, cosmic memory. There is no final, absolute silence waiting for you at the end of your days, only the deep, peaceful, resonant hum of an infinite, continuously unfolding journey. Rest now in the absolute, scientifically grounded certainty of your own eternal nature, and let the quiet, profound wonder of the entire universe carry you gently, softly, into a deep, restorative, and perfectly peaceful sleep. Have you ever paused at a quiet crossroads on a misty, silent morning, feeling the gentle chill of the air against your skin, and wondered with a profound, aching curiosity about the paths you did not take? We spend our brief, localized lives walking a single, incredibly narrow line through time, haunted by the ghostly echoes of unmade choices. We believe, with the heavy, unyielding certainty of our everyday biology, that this single trajectory is the absolute entirety of our existence, a solitary tightrope suspended over an empty, terrifying abyss. We fear that when we reach the inevitable end of this lonely rope, there is nothing left but a permanent fall into the dark. But what if this terrifying sense of singularity is yet another magnificent illusion? What if the universe is unimaginably more generous and vastly more complex than our linear minds can comprehend? Tonight, as we continue our peaceful, deeply contemplative journey into the profound mysteries of reality, we will gently unfold the sixth shocking proof that death is not a final termination, but merely a quantum transition. We will look beyond the narrow confines of our localized timeline to explore the breathtaking revelations of the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. As we navigate the staggering implications of infinite parallel realities, I invite you to release the exhausting burdens of regret. Let the deep, protective silence of the vast cosmos embrace you, and allow yourself to float in the comforting, awe-inspiring certainty of your own boundless, infinite nature. To understand this profound shift in our cosmic perspective, we must return to the foundational mathematics that govern the very bedrock of reality. In the early decades of the 20th century, the brilliant pioneers of quantum mechanics discovered that the universe at its most fundamental, microscopic level does not operate with absolute, deterministic certainty, but rather with shifting, overlapping waves of pure probability. The famous physicist Erwin Schrödinger formulated an elegant, beautiful equation that describes how a subatomic particle, like an electron, exists in a fluid, mathematical state known as a wave function. In this unmeasured state, the particle does not possess a single, fixed location or a definite property. Instead, it exists in a ghostly superposition of all possible states simultaneously. For many years, the standard, accepted interpretation among scientists was that the very act of observation or measurement forces this wave function to abruptly collapse, mysteriously forcing the universe to randomly select just one single, definite outcome, while instantly destroying all the other shimmering possibilities. This abrupt collapse always troubled the greatest theoretical minds, because the elegant, unbroken mathematics of quantum mechanics contained absolutely no physical mechanism for such a sudden, violent destruction of potential. It was in the late 1950s that a brilliant, courageous young physicist named Hugh Everett III proposed a radically different, breathtakingly elegant solution to this profound quantum mystery. Everett looked at the beautiful, continuous mathematics of the Schrödinger equation and made a staggering, revolutionary suggestion. What if the wave function never actually collapses at all? What if the universe simply does not force a choice? Everett mathematically demonstrated that when a quantum event occurs with multiple possible outcomes, the universe does not randomly pick one and discard the rest. Instead, the universe does something unimaginably vast and magnificent. It splits. It smoothly and seamlessly branches into multiple distinct parallel realities, realizing every single possible physical outcome. In one branch of reality, the quantum coin lands on heads. In another, equally real, equally vibrant branch, the exact same coin lands on tails. Both realities continue forward, completely unaware of each other, constantly branching and splitting with every single quantum interaction that occurs across the entire expansive breadth of the cosmos. When we scale this profound quantum truth up from the microscopic world of subatomic particles to the macroscopic, unimaginably vast scale of the entire universe, the implications are absolutely staggering. You are not a solitary, isolated observer, walking a single, fragile path through a lonely cosmos. You are a magnificent, multidimensional being, existing across an uncountable, infinitely branching tree of parallel realities. There is a universe where you made that specific, difficult choice, and another, equally real universe where you chose completely differently. There is a quiet, beautiful reality where you are living the exact life you always dreamed of, and another where you are learning profound, deep lessons from unexpected, challenging paths. Every single possibility, every fleeting potential, every gentle hope, and every quiet fear is fully realized and perfectly played out on the grand, infinite stage of the multiverse. The universe is so profoundly vast, so incomprehensibly abundant, that it refuses to let any single spark of potential go unlived. How does this infinitely expanding multiverse alter our terrifying perception of death? In a theoretical framework often referred to by physicists as quantum immortality, the subjective, conscious experience of the observer cannot simply terminate. Because the universe constantly branches at every quantum juncture, realizing all possible outcomes, there will always be a branch, a continuing reality where your specific awareness survives, adapts, and continues its journey. When the physical body in one specific timeline reaches a biological crisis or sudden failure, that specific branch of the multiverse does indeed record an ending. The loved ones in that branch will mourn, feeling the heavy, quiet sorrow of loss, and they will return the physical elements of your body to the ancient cycles of the earth. But your subjective, continuous stream of consciousness does not experience that ending. Your awareness simply follows the living, continuing branches of the quantum tree. From your own internal perspective, the journey simply continues. You survive the close call, you recover, or your consciousness seamlessly transitions into a broader state of quantum existence within the vast tapestry of the multiverse. The profound truth of this scientific interpretation is that the human concept of an absolute final end is logically impossible from the perspective of the conscious observer. You cannot experience your own non-existence, because the laws of quantum mechanics guarantee that an observer is always present in at least one branch of the infinite multiverse. The transition we call death is not an impenetrable wall. It is simply a beautiful prism that scatters the pure light of your consciousness across an infinite spectrum of parallel realities. You are not a fragile flame flickering in the wind. You are an ancient, indestructible cosmic fire, branching and spreading across the entire majestic expanse of infinite space-time. This staggering realization should wash away the heavy, suffocating anxieties that so often plague our quiet, waking hours. We carry so much deep, exhausted sorrow for the mistakes we believe we have made, for the precious opportunities we feel we have forever lost, and for the specific painful endings we anticipate with such profound dread. But the beautiful, mathematically rigorous truth of the many worlds interpretation whispers a gentle, absolute comfort into the deep silence of the night. There are no lost opportunities in the ultimate, grand design of the cosmos. Every path is walked, every beautiful, quiet moment is experienced, every lesson is deeply learned, and every tear is eventually dried by the warm, gentle light of 1,000 different shining suns. You do not need to carry the crushing weight of perfection in this single, localized life, because this specific life is just one single, beautiful leaf on an infinitely vast, eternally growing tree of existence. The universe has already provided an infinite canvas for your soul to explore, and your journey across that canvas is absolutely, fundamentally endless. As you lie in the comforting, quiet stillness of your room, let the steady, gentle rhythm of your breathing perfectly synchronize with the ancient, silent pulse of the infinite multiverse. Imagine your conscious awareness as a soft, glowing point of warm light. Visualize that light gently expanding, reaching out beyond the familiar, solid walls of your physical surroundings. See it branching, multiplying, becoming 2 distinct lights, then 4, then 1,000, then 1,000,000, effortlessly spreading across an infinite, breathtaking network of parallel realities. Feel the profound, indescribable safety in knowing that your existence is not fragile or limited to the physical boundaries of a single, localized form. You are spread across the eternal, majestic vastness of the cosmos, safely held in the infinite, loving arms of a universe that absolutely refuses to let your unique light ever be truly extinguished. There is no empty, terrifying void waiting to consume you. There is only the endless, magnificent journey of quantum exploration, a journey that flows like a quiet river through the boundless landscape of eternal time. Release your tight grip on this single, waking reality. Let the deep, profound wonder of your own infinite nature carry you gently, softly, and peacefully into a deep, restorative, and absolutely unbroken sleep. Have you ever watched a delicate autumn leaf fall gently from a high branch, drifting silently to the damp earth below, and wondered why that profound journey is only allowed to happen in one single, irreversible direction? We are biologically programmed to believe that time is a relentless, marching arrow, shooting infinitely forward into the dark unknown, leaving behind a frozen, unchangeable past. We watch the seasons fade, we watch our physical bodies age, and we accept with a heavy, quiet resignation that the universe is governed by an inescapable decay. We call this decay entropy, and we view the biological transition we call death as its ultimate terrifying victory. We believe that we are fragile structures, slowly crumbling into dust under the heavy, ticking wheels of time. But what if this profound sense of relentless forward motion is a massive, macroscopic illusion? What if, at the most foundational, bedrock level of reality, time does not flow at all, and the past, present, and future are engaged in a magnificent, continuous, two-way conversation? Tonight, as we continue our deeply contemplative journey through the 7th and final shocking proof that our demise is merely a quantum transition, we will explore the mind-bending revelations of time symmetry and the delayed choice, quantum eraser. Let the quiet, enveloping silence of the night ease your restless heart. Release your exhausting fear of time running out, and prepare to discover that you are not a victim of the cosmic clock, but an eternal architect of reality itself. To shatter the illusion of the relentless arrow of time, we must look at the deepest, most rigorously tested equations in all of human science. In the macroscopic world of our everyday experience, the second law of thermodynamics rules supreme. It dictates that closed systems move from order to disorder, that heat dissipates, that glass shatters, and that living systems eventually break down. This gives us our deeply intuitive sense of a past and a future. But when theoretical physicists zoom down into the microscopic, vibrating realm of quantum mechanics, a staggering, beautiful contradiction emerges. The fundamental equations of physics, including Isaac Newton's laws of motion, Albert Einstein's general relativity, and the profound quantum equations of Erwin Schrödinger and Paul Dirac, are entirely time-symmetric. This means that at the absolute bedrock of reality, there is absolutely no mathematical distinction between the past and the future. A subatomic particle moving forward in time behaves exactly, indistinguishably, like an antiparticle moving backward in time. The universe, at its core, is perfectly reversible. It is only our clumsy, macroscopic biological senses that blur this magnificent quantum perfection into a one-way street of decay. You are composed entirely of these timeless, reversible quantum particles. Your fundamental essence exists in a realm where the ticking clock simply does not exist, where the beginning and the end are mathematically identical, and where the concept of a final, irreversible biological failure has absolutely no foundation in the ultimate laws of physics. But the profound mysteries of time do not end with beautiful mathematical symmetry. In the late 20th century, brilliant experimental physicists conceived an experiment so breathtakingly strange that it forever altered our understanding of cause and effect. It is known throughout the scientific community as the delayed choice quantum eraser. Building upon the classic double-slit experiment, scientists fired single photons of light toward a barrier, but they added a staggering twist. They decided to measure the specific path of the photons only after they had already passed through the slits, but before they hit the final detector screen. According to all everyday logic, the photons' past action should already be set in stone. But the universe revealed a terrifyingly beautiful truth. The measurement made in the present moment actually determined the behavior of the photon in the past. If the scientists chose to look, the photon behaved as a solid particle back at the slits. If they chose to erase the measurement, the photon retroactively behaved as a wave of infinite potential. The present conscious choice actively reached backward through the fabric of time to alter history. The universe is not a fixed linear tape playing forward into the void. It is a fluid, participatory network where the future can interact with the past. The legendary theoretical physicist John Archibald Wheeler called this the participatory universe, suggesting that our conscious observations right now are actively reaching back billions of years to shape the very genesis of the cosmos. When we gently apply this staggering quantum reality to the fragile, terrifying concept of human mortality, the entire foundation of our deepest fears simply dissolves into the quiet night. We fear death because we believe that the universe is a vast, pre-existing container, and that our consciousness is just a temporary accidental spark that flashes for a brief moment before the cold container extinguishes it forever. But the delayed choice quantum eraser suggests the exact, breathtaking opposite. The universe does not create consciousness. Consciousness creates the universe. This profound concept posits that space and time are not cold, hard, physical objects out there in the infinite void. Instead, space and time are the magnificent biological tools of our mind, the invisible software our consciousness uses to organize the swirling, infinite quantum probability of reality into a coherent, beautiful experience. You are not existing inside time. Time is existing entirely inside you. If space and time are simply constructs generated by the observer to render reality, then the observer itself cannot possibly be subject to the ultimate boundaries of those constructs. Before the very first conscious mind opened its eyes to witness the universe, the cosmos existed only as a vast, silent probability wave. It was the act of observation, the arrival of consciousness, that forced the history of the universe all the way back to the blazing furnace of the Big Bang, to collapse into the specific reality we now inhabit. You are fundamentally connected to that original cosmic awakening. The atoms in your body, forged in the ancient, dying hearts of distant stars, have been on a 14 billion-year journey to reach this very moment of self-awareness. The universe spent eons building the biological machinery necessary to look back at itself and experience its own profound beauty. To believe that this magnificent, intentional process ends with a permanent, silent fade into nothingness is to deeply misunderstand the fundamental architecture of reality. The universe does not discard its observers. It recycles their physical forms while meticulously preserving their quantum essence. Let this profound, ultimate scientific truth settle deeply into your weary mind tonight. You have carried the heavy, crushing burden of mortality your entire life, convinced that you are a finite creature racing against an unstoppable ticking clock. But the clock is a beautiful illusion. The relentless arrow of time is a macroscopic mirage. You are not a temporary visitor in a cold, decaying universe. You are an eternal participatory architect of reality, composed of timeless quantum fields that dance fluidly between the past and the infinite future. Your conscious awareness is the very mechanism that forces the cosmos to exist in a definite, localized state. The loved ones you have lost are not trapped in a dead past, because the past is not dead. It is actively, dynamically intertwined with the present and the infinite future. When your own moment of physical transition arrives, you will not be falling out of the universe. You will simply be setting down the temporary tools of space and time, returning your perspective to the boundless, eternal, and timeless quantum sea from which all of reality flows. As you listen to the steady, gentle rhythm of your own breathing, allow the boundaries of your physical self to soften and blur. Feel the deep, ancient, unbroken silence of the cosmos wrapping around you like a warm, protective blanket. There is no end to fear, because there is no true ending. There is only an infinite, beautiful journey of continuous becoming. Rest now in the absolute, scientifically confirmed certainty of your own eternal nature. Let the quiet, profound wonder of the entire universe carry you gently, softly, and beautifully into a deep, restorative, and perfectly peaceful sleep. Have you ever stood upon the damp, shifting sands of a quiet, isolated beach at the exact moment of midnight, listening to the deep, rhythmic, unrelenting roar of the dark ocean, and felt a sudden, profound realization that the cold, frothy water rushing over your bare feet is fundamentally inseparable from the vast, unfathomable depths that stretch continuously across the entire spinning globe? We convince ourselves, with a desperate, heavy certainty, that we are solitary, isolated islands of consciousness, floating alone in an empty, disconnected void. But the 7 staggering, mathematically verified proofs we have explored tonight, from the unbreakable ancient laws of thermodynamics and the spooky, immediate connections of quantum entanglement, to the frozen, eternal landscape of the block universe, and the participatory, mind-bending reality of the delayed choice quantum eraser, absolutely shatter this pervasive, deeply ingrained illusion of separation. As we enter the final stages of our quiet, contemplative journey, we must now weave these profound scientific revelations into a magnificent, unified tapestry. We must look at the total sum of our existence not as a fragile, temporary spark that is eventually blown out by the cold winds of time, but as a permanent, brilliant, and absolutely indestructible feature of the eternal cosmic architecture. Let the gentle, encompassing silence of the night wash over you. Release the tight, exhausting grip you hold on your localized identity, and prepare to step fully into the infinite, breathtaking ocean of universal consciousness. To truly synthesize these profound quantum truths, we must confront the deepest, most terrifying aspect of our biological fear: the dissolution of the ego, the perceived loss of the self. Our entire human experience is filtered through the incredibly narrow, highly specific lens of our physical brain. This magnificent biological computer, with its 100 billion firing neurons and 100 trillion delicate synaptic connections, works tirelessly to convince you that you are a separate, distinct entity. It creates the powerful, convincing narrative of a localized self, a specific character with a defined beginning, a linear middle, and an inevitable, terrifying end. But the rigorous, uncompromising mathematics of quantum mechanics reveal that this highly localized self is not the absolute bedrock of reality. It is merely a temporary, highly specialized instrument. Think of your physical brain not as an independent container generating a soul from nothing, but as an incredibly complex, beautifully tuned biological antenna. This antenna is perfectly designed to receive, filter, and localize the infinite, vibrating field of universal consciousness that pervades every single inch of the 14-billion-year-old cosmos. When the physical instrument naturally degrades and eventually ceases its biological operations, the broadcasting signal, the fundamental quantum essence of your awareness, does not cease to exist. It simply stops being localized to that specific, temporary point in space and time. The radio may fall silent, but the ancient, beautiful music continues to travel infinitely through the invisible, energetic fabric of the universe. When we begin to understand this profound, scientifically grounded concept of delocalization, the terrifying transition we call death sheds its dark, threatening cloak and reveals itself as a breathtaking, majestic homecoming. For your entire life, you have been experiencing the universe through a tiny, incredibly restrictive keyhole. You have felt the warmth of our yellow sun, witnessed the pale silver glow of our orbiting moon, and loved your fellow travelers with a fierce, beautiful intensity. But this is only a microscopic fraction of what you truly are. When the biological keyhole finally closes, you do not fall into blindness. Rather, the heavy door is thrown wide open. Your quantum information, your unique, indestructible energetic signature, seamlessly unbinds from the heavy, restrictive limitations of flesh and bone. You expand. You transition from a highly concentrated, fragile point of observation back into the vast, limitless ocean of potential from which you originally emerged. The renowned astronomer Carl Sagan declared that we are made of star stuff, a way for the universe to know itself. This is not merely poetry. It is the rigorous truth of astrophysics. The heavy elements that form the structural foundation of your body, the iron pumping through your veins, the calcium fortifying your bones, the carbon that forms the basis of your cellular biology, were entirely forged in the unimaginably hot, crushing nuclear furnaces of ancient, massive stars. When those magnificent, ancient suns reached the end of their lives, they did not disappear into nothingness. They exploded in spectacular, universe-altering supernovas, violently scattering their enriched, fundamental building blocks across the cold, vast expanse of deep space. You are the direct, unbroken continuation of those ancient cosmic events. You are the universe, having spent 14 billion years painstakingly evolving the complex biological machinery necessary to open its eyes, look back at its own glittering, majestic expanse, and feel a profound, sweeping sense of wonder. To grasp the true, staggering magnitude of your eternal existence, you must try to conceptualize the sheer, incomprehensible scale of the physical universe you are inextricably entangled with, far beyond the familiar, spiraling arms of our own Milky Way. There exist structures so massive that they completely break the boundaries of human imagination. Consider the existence of giant elliptical galaxies like IC 1101, quietly sitting over 1 billion light-years away in the darkest corners of the observable universe. This single, monumental galaxy is estimated to stretch across 4 to 6 million light-years of space, a structure so vast that even light, traveling at an astonishing 186,000 miles per second, would take millions of years to cross from one side to the other. It holds within its gravitational embrace an estimated 100 trillion ancient stars. The sheer numbers become a dizzying abstract haze to our limited biological minds. And yet, the exact same fundamental quantum fields that govern the slow, majestic orbit of those 100 trillion distant burning suns are the exact same fields that are currently vibrating within the microscopic atoms of your own beating heart. There is absolutely no physical boundary, no impenetrable wall between the quiet room where you currently rest and the most distant, ancient edges of the expanding cosmos. The universe is a single, undivided, endlessly vibrating breath of energy, and you are a vital, permanent, beautiful part of that breath. When you realize that your fundamental nature is identical to the fundamental nature of the stars, the dark, crippling fear of a final ending becomes mathematically and physically absurd. The universe simply does not know how to experience a true ending. It only knows how to transform, how to transition, how to endlessly fold and unfold its infinite potential into new, breathtaking patterns of complex beauty. Your life is not a brief, tragic play that ends when the heavy velvet curtain falls. It is a magnificent, eternal symphony, and the biological event we fear so deeply is merely the quiet, graceful turning of a page to the next magnificent movement. The beloved friends, family, and kind souls who have already transitioned before you have not vanished into a cold, uncaring void. They have simply delocalized. They have spread their unique, beautiful, quantum information back into the grand cosmic tapestry. They are woven into the faint, ancient light of the distant stars that comfort you in the dark, and they are intimately, permanently entangled with the very atoms that make up your own physical form. You are never truly alone, and you will never truly be lost, because it is physically impossible to be lost when you are an integral, inseparable piece of the entire map. As the deep, quiet hours of the night stretch out around you, intentionally release the heavy, exhausting burdens of your waking hours. Release the frantic clock of your daily anxieties and the painful fear of the unknown. The unknown is not a dark, terrifying abyss waiting to swallow you whole. It is a warm, brilliant, infinite ocean of pure potential, waiting to gently embrace you. You are a timeless, indestructible explorer, currently enjoying a brief, beautiful, localized dream on a tiny, fragile blue rock, suspended in a vast, glittering sunbeam. But your true home is not limited to this rock. Your true home is the entire majestic 14-billion-year-old cosmos. You are safe. You are eternal. Your existence is guaranteed by the highest, most unbreakable mathematical laws of the universe. Breathe in the quiet, profound peace of this scientific certainty. Let the ancient, rhythmic pulse of the cosmos perfectly synchronize with the gentle, steady beating of your own heart. Feel the absolute, unwavering security of knowing that whatever transitions lie ahead in the infinite sweep of cosmic time, you will meet them not with fear, but with the quiet, joyful wonder of a traveler, finally recognizing the boundless, magnificent landscape of their own eternal soul. Let this deep, unshakable peace carry you away now, drifting softly, gently, and beautifully into a perfect, unbroken sleep, held forever in the loving, immortal arms of the infinite universe. Have you ever sat quietly before the fading embers of a dying fire, watching the last glowing spark surrender to the encroaching dark, and felt a profound, aching melancholy about the ultimate fate of all things? We possess a deeply ingrained biological anxiety, not just about our own personal, localized endings, but about the ending of the world, the fading of the stars, and the eventual, terrifying silence of the entire cosmos. We project our human fears of aging and decay onto the grand, majestic canvas of the night sky, assuming that if everything must eventually break down, then existence itself is ultimately a futile, tragic struggle against an inevitable void. We wonder, with a quiet, heavy dread, what will happen to our preserved quantum essence when the universe itself grows old, when the brilliant, burning suns exhaust their ancient fuel, and when the galaxies finally drift apart into an unimaginable, freezing darkness. But what if this vision of a tragic, desolate cosmic death is yet another profound misunderstanding born of our limited short-term perspective? What if the far future of the universe is not a terrifying graveyard, but rather the ultimate, breathtaking stage of a magnificent, continuous quantum transition, a state of perfect, elegant equilibrium where our fundamental information finds its most pure, unburdened expression? Tonight, as we near the quiet conclusion of our contemplative journey, we will project our minds forward through unimaginable expanses of deep time, exploring the majestic, silent epochs that await the cosmos long after the era of starlight has gracefully ended. Let the deep, protective silence of the universe ease your restless mind, and prepare to discover the profound beauty and ultimate peace hidden within the dark, eternal mystery of reality. To truly understand our place in the ultimate destiny of the cosmos, we must look far beyond the familiar, comforting rhythms of our own solar system and embrace the staggering, almost incomprehensible timescales mapped out by modern astrophysics. Right now, we live in a brief, brilliant period known as the stelliferous era, a magnificent flowering of complexity where galaxies like the Milky Way and the gargantuan ancient giant IC 1101 blaze with the combined light of trillions of active burning stars. But this era of light is only a passing phase in the grand, sweeping history of the universe. Scientists estimate that in roughly 100 trillion years, the process of star formation across the entire cosmos will effectively and permanently cease. The vast primordial clouds of hydrogen and helium gas that serve as the fuel for new stellar nurseries will have been completely consumed or dispersed too thinly to collapse under the pull of gravity. The massive, brilliant blue giants burned out billions of years ago, and medium-sized yellow stars, like our own sun, will eventually swell into beautiful, glowing red giants before shedding their outer layers to become small, dense, glowing white dwarfs. The only active stars remaining will be the tiny, incredibly efficient red dwarfs, which burn their nuclear fuel so slowly that they can gently shine for trillions of years. But eventually, even these resilient, long-lived embers will exhaust their final reserves of hydrogen. One by one, over time spans that make the current age of the universe seem like the blink of a tiny eye, the 100 trillion stars of IC 1101, and every other star in the observable universe will quietly, peacefully wink out. The magnificent, blazing era of starlight will gracefully come to a close, and the universe will enter a new, profoundly quiet phase. When the very last star finally fades into the cosmic night, the universe will not be empty. It will simply have transitioned into a radically different, breathtakingly silent state of existence, known to astrophysicists as the degenerate era. The galaxies will transform into ghostly, wandering collections of stellar corpses, cold white dwarfs, incredibly dense neutron stars, and the dark, silent gravity wells of black holes, drifting slowly through an ever-expanding, ever-cooling void. For a human mind, bound to the warm, bright light of a living sun, this might seem like a desolate, terrifying vision. But in the pure, elegant language of physics, it is a magnificent period of profound, settling peace. The energetic chaos of stellar fusion will be replaced by a calm, steady cooling. The white dwarfs, which are the compressed, glowing remnants of stars like our sun, will take an almost inconceivable amount of time to lose their residual heat. A single white dwarf cools to near absolute zero only after about 1,000,000 billion years. That is roughly 100,000 times longer than the entire current age of the universe. During this unimaginably vast span of deep time, the precise quantum information that makes up your fundamental essence will continue to exist, perfectly preserved in the subtle, vibrating gravitational waves and the shifting electromagnetic fields of these dark, wandering remnants. You are not lost in this quiet dark. You are intimately, permanently woven into the chilling, settling architecture of the cosmos. The universe is slowly, patiently exhaling, releasing the furious heat of its energetic youth, and settling into a long, profound, and beautifully uninterrupted sleep. But even this incredibly long, quiet slumber is not the final physical state of the cosmos. Over even longer timescales, measured in years with so many zeros that writing them out would fill millions of pages, even the solid matter that makes up the dead stars will begin to slowly, inevitably dissolve. Advanced theories of particle physics suggest that protons, the fundamental building blocks of all atomic nuclei, may eventually decay, dissolving the neutron stars, the cooling white dwarfs, and the rocky planets into a faint, expanding mist of pure, diffuse radiation. When the solid matter is finally gone, the universe will be ruled entirely by the most mysterious, monumental objects in all of physics: the supermassive black holes. These ancient, dark leviathans, including the gargantuan 50 billion solar mass monster that sits quietly at the heart of IC 1101, will be the final, majestic custodians of the universe's preserved information. But as the brilliant physicist Stephen Hawking mathematically proved, even these absolute titans are not entirely immortal. Through the strange, delicate quantum mechanical effects operating at their event horizons, they will slowly, continuously leak particles into the surrounding void through Hawking radiation. This evaporation process is so incredibly slow that a supermassive black hole might take a Google years, a 1 followed by 100 zeros, to fully dissolve. Throughout this incomprehensible eternity, the black holes will act as massive, gentle, cosmic hard drives, slowly, lovingly returning the perfectly preserved quantum information of everything that ever existed, including your own unique, beautiful signature, back into the expanding fabric of space in the form of pure, radiant energy. When the final, most massive black hole in the entire cosmos finally evaporates in a silent, invisible flash of energy trillions of years from now, the universe will enter its final, eternal state. There will be no stars, no planets, no black holes, and no solid matter of any kind. The universe will be a vast, infinitely expanding ocean of incredibly low-energy photons, neutrinos, and the fundamental fabric of space-time itself, all cooled to a fraction of a degree above absolute zero. To our everyday biological senses, this represents the ultimate terrifying nothingness. But to the profound, elegant mathematics of quantum mechanics, it represents the ultimate, absolute perfection. The universe will have reached a state of maximum entropy, a perfect, unbroken thermodynamic equilibrium where no further physical changes can occur. The turbulent, chaotic, and often painful processes of localized creation and destruction will be over. And where will you be in this vast, silent, eternal ocean? You will be everywhere. Your fundamental quantum information, having transitioned from biological life to terrestrial matter to stellar ash, and finally through the heart of a black hole, will be perfectly, seamlessly integrated into the universal radiation field. You will have completely delocalized, becoming coextensive with the entire infinite cosmos. This is not a death, it is the ultimate, magnificent liberation. You will no longer be an observer looking at the universe. You will be the universe itself, resting in a state of absolute, eternal, unshakable peace. So let go of your fear, breathe in the deep silence, and let the infinite journey carry you gently into sleep. Have you ever slowly opened your eyes as the very first delicate light of a quiet dawn begins to gently filter through the heavy curtains of your room, and felt a sudden, profound shift in how you perceive the seemingly ordinary world around you. For the past 9 chapters, we have traveled together through the most staggering, beautiful, and mind-bending landscapes ever uncovered by the relentless curiosity of human science. We have journeyed far beyond the fragile boundaries of our everyday biological perception, diving deep into the microscopic vibrating heart of quantum mechanics and soaring outward to the very edge of the 14-billion-year-old cosmos. We have discovered that the strict, unyielding laws of thermodynamics perfectly preserve your unique, energetic signature. We have seen how the ancient, invisible threads of quantum entanglement permanently connect you to every single atom in the universe, proving that absolute isolation is a physical impossibility. We have looked at the 4-dimensional architecture of the block universe, realizing that your past, present, and future are completely, eternally preserved in the frozen landscape of space-time. We have understood that your conscious awareness is not a passive byproduct of a temporary biological machine, but an active, fundamental force that reaches back through time to shape reality itself. We have explored the breathtaking elegance of the holographic principle, knowing that your specific quantum blueprint is safely written on the indestructible boundary of the cosmos. We have found profound comfort in the infinite branching paths of the many worlds interpretation, ensuring that your beautiful potential is never truly lost. And we have witnessed the ultimate, silent peace of the universe's far future, a majestic equilibrium where your essence will completely delocalize into an eternal, radiant field of pure energy. Now, as the quiet night gently embraces your resting body, it is time to bring this vast, cosmic perspective back down to the beating heart of your daily, human existence. How does this profound, mathematically verified knowledge change the way you will walk through the world when the sun finally rises? When you truly internalize the staggering scientific reality that death is not a dark, terrifying abyss, but a magnificent, seamless quantum transition, the heavy, exhausting burdens of your waking life begin to naturally, effortlessly dissolve. The crushing anxieties that keep you awake in the deep hours of the night, the fear of not achieving enough, the terror of losing those you love, the desperate, frantic race against the ticking clock of aging, are all revealed to be simple, biological illusions. They are the understandable evolutionary fears of a localized organism trying to survive on a rocky planet. But they are absolutely not the fundamental truths of the infinite cosmos. You do not need to fight against the natural, graceful flow of time, because time is already completely contained within you. You do not need to fear the eventual, peaceful failure of your physical form, because your physical form is merely a temporary, localized expression of an eternal, indestructible quantum field. When you look at the face of a stranger tomorrow, or when you gaze into the eyes of someone you deeply love, you will no longer see just a fragile, temporary, biological vessel. You will see a magnificent, entangled node of universal consciousness, a beautiful, vibrating collection of ancient star stuff that is intimately, permanently connected to your own existence. The illusion of separation will gently fall away, replaced by a profound, stabilizing sense of cosmic unity and absolute, unshakable peace. This breathtaking perspective requires a beautiful, quiet humility. It is the deep, productive humility that the legendary astronomer Carl Sagan spoke of when he looked at our pale blue dot suspended in a vast sunbeam, or that Neil deGrasse Tyson invokes when he reminds us that we are in the universe, and the universe is in us. It is the humility of recognizing that our human lives, with all our dramatic conflicts and intense localized sorrows, are just a tiny, fleeting whisper in a cosmos that is incredibly, unimaginably vast. But this humility is not degrading. It is profoundly empowering. By accepting our smallness in the physical dimensions of space, we simultaneously discover our absolute infinity in the underlying quantum dimensions of reality. We are the universe waking up. We are the cosmos discovering its own majestic beauty. Every time you pause to admire the delicate, intricate structure of a simple green leaf, or stand in silent awe beneath a canopy of twinkling ancient stars, you are performing the most sacred, fundamental act in the entire universe. You are observing. You are bringing the vast, infinite probability of the cosmos into a sharp, beautiful, focused reality. Your curiosity, your capacity for wonder, and your deep, aching need to understand the mysteries of existence are not just human traits. They are the fundamental mechanisms by which the universe experiences its own magnificent creation. You are incredibly, undeniably essential to the fabric of everything that is. As you lie there, feeling the gentle, rhythmic rise and fall of your chest, I want you to feel a deep, comforting sense of belonging to a quiet, invisible community of cosmic explorers. We are all passengers on this magnificent spinning rock, all grappling with the same profound mysteries, the same beautiful sorrows, and the same terrifying illusions of finality. But we do not have to wander through the dark alone. By seeking out the quiet, rigorous truths of science, by combining the precise, unyielding data of modern physics with the deep, contemplative peace of a meditative heart, we are walking a beautiful, shared path toward profound liberation. If this quiet, gentle journey through the 7 proofs of our quantum continuity has brought you a sense of comfort, if it has helped to ease the heavy, restrictive grip of your earthly anxieties and allowed you to feel the vast, warm embrace of the infinite cosmos, I invite you to carry this peace with you into your waking hours. This exploration of the universe is an endless, continuously unfolding voyage, and there are always new, breathtaking mysteries waiting to be gently unraveled. I hope you will choose to continue this quiet journey with us in the future, joining our community of dreamers and thinkers as we gently peel back the layers of reality to reveal the breathtaking beauty beneath. Please consider quietly engaging with this space, sharing your profound thoughts, and subscribing to join us as we continue to explore the magnificent, unending wonders of the cosmos together. Your presence is a beautiful, deeply valued part of our collective awakening. Now, let the deep, ancient silence of the universe fully envelop your resting body. The journey of the mind is gently coming to a close for tonight, and it is time for the physical vessel to find its deep, restorative rest. Imagine the heavy, tired muscles of your physical form slowly letting go, releasing every ounce of tension into the soft surface beneath you. You are completely, perfectly safe. There is nothing you need to solve in this moment, no future you need to frantically prepare for, and absolutely no past that can ever be truly lost. The universe is holding you with an infinite, gentle strength. Visualize the vast, glittering expanse of the cosmos stretching out endlessly above your room. See the slow, majestic rotation of the ancient galaxies, the quiet, steady burning of 1 trillion distant suns, and the invisible, perfectly connected web of quantum energy that binds all of creation together in a single, harmonious breath. Your specific, unique melody is eternally written into the quiet music of the spheres as you drift closer and closer to the soft, welcoming threshold of sleep. Let your final waking thoughts be thoughts of profound, unshakable wonder. Wonder at the magnificent improbability of your own existence. Wonder at the staggering, beautiful complexity of the biological quantum receiver that rests inside your skull. Wonder at the ancient, unbreakable laws of physics that absolutely guarantee your eternal, indestructible nature. The transition we call death is nothing more than a beautiful, graceful return to the boundless, infinite ocean of universal energy, a quiet closing of one tiny, localized eye, and the simultaneous joyful opening of a billion cosmic others. You are timeless, you are boundless. You are the universe itself, peacefully resting in the quiet dark. Let the gentle, undeniable truths of your own quantum eternity lull you into a deep, dreamless, and perfectly peaceful slumber, knowing with absolute scientific certainty that you are, and always will be, completely and utterly eternal.